Oh, look at that. The light's on. Good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the most important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world and not in that way. So today is a historic day for Vanderbilt University, the whipping boy when it comes to SEC football, although they have beaten Missouri unlike some other Tennessee school dominance, but the school stands on the precipice of a second straight national title in baseball. On the same day, two former members of the Vanderbilt football program were released from jail after being convicted of sexual battery and aggravated rape. They were released on a technicality, a mistrial, and if we want to get really depressed, we can talk about the details. Now, Sharona, as a lawyer person of the two of us, do you care to comment in the language of your people?
Well, I mean, I understand the legal technicalities there. A juror did not disclose properly some personal information that this person should have disclosed, and that is a very serious matter. On the other hand, as someone who followed the case and is aware of, the evidence there, I feel like you know, it's a travesty and a shame because it was, I think you could have a very good discussion on whether it mattered.
Whether the detail, because from what I heard, it was the jury foreman, and it was actually reported by the person who raped the person. It was like a underage, overage kind of relationship. I think that's what I had read. And the foreman in the case was like 16 when this happened. And somebody brought it up. And this is 5 months after the conviction, I think. And it's, I mean, the whole case, because, Vanderbilt's seen as sometimes a level higher. They don't usually have the off the field issues that other SEC football schools have. I know Missouri has their share as well. So for that to happen, and just to read the details of the story, and don't necessarily need to get into those, but it's pretty disgusting all the way around. And I don't know if that leaves the door open for another trial. That's where you can a lawyer person talk.
Yes, a mistrial just means the verdict was voided, and the prosecution is certainly free to bring another to retry the case. But that's kind of where part of the really the unfortunate aspect of it, I guess, is the best way to put it, because now the taxpayers have to fund that trials cost money. These are real real life issues that that affect us all. And so while I understand, I also find it unfortunate. And I don't know that that the judge really had, I think that declaring a mistrial was probably the appropriate thing to do to be safe, but I think that it's very unfortunate.
I guess if they didn't declare a mistrial, they could have had an appeal and could have got stuff overturned that way.
Yeah, it was going up on appeal. It was already up on appeal. I should clarify that. I'm certain that it was up on appeal, and so yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean, it's sad, but it's just interesting to see. I mean, you don't pay attention to a case that much, and then you read about it and you hear about how the victim in this case, like her name was inadvertently leaked. Like 2020 did a show on this, and on their East Coast version of the show, they put the name of the victim on there, and they erased it after the fact, but people could have seen it, and it just brings up the whole.
Well, I mean, there's an asshole out there he finally got banned from Twitter, who was doxing all of these, women who had, brought these rape charges, and he's a terrible person.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to have something like this happen to you is horrible, but then to consider the legal aspects about it, how there might not be charges, how it drags out over time, and how some kind of like legal technicality like this could happen and make you go through it for an extended period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she was very brave to go through it the first time, and I'm sure that relaying the details, what she remembers, because she was unconscious for a large part of it, and they filmed it, which ultimately led to their demise, so to speak. But yeah, she's been victimized in a number of ways, and not the least of which is she's going to have to go through this again.
Yeah, I think she's still at the school and like going to school or something. I don't know. It's just,
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. If she is, I'm very proud of her.
yeah, it's just tough because I'm pretty sure the woman who accused Jameis Winston may not even be allowed in the state of Florida ever again.
I don't know why she would ever want to go back there the way they treated her.
Yeah. It's at.
I mean, you even talk about the Jameis Winston case on Twitter. You should see how you get treated. How she got treated, I'm sure, was 1,000 times worse.
The Florida State fans just automatically. I mean, this happens in a lot of subjects, but just automatically like, if a Tennessee Titans player gets like pulled over for DUI and someone mentions it on Twitter, you're not like going to go after him and go wait till justice is served and attack somebody. But seems like a similar thing where the fans, when it comes to sports, we don't act so rationally. Noted where I yelled at other fans at games occasionally, but the overreaction and craziness, yeah, gets a little bit over there. I mean, I'm beyond over the top, but I don't know. It just struck me today because I had a Vanderbilt national championship baseball shirt and I was wearing it around town and somebody's like, "Hey, Vandy," and I was like, I have no self-awareness. So I'm like, what, why are you pointing at me? Like I don't remember what I'm wearing. So it's a little bit strange. It's like they're on the verge of a great sports achievement, but then this off the field stuff, which
I mean,
their baseball team
is their baseball team is very good, and they deserve all the accolades they're getting.
I mean, just as
they had a guy selected #1 overall in the recent MLB draft.
Well, that's what was crazy because maybe we'll get into lighter stuff and sports stuff. So Vanderbilt, like the guy who pitched the first game of this championship series, he's their #3 starter. And he was taken 24th overall in the latest baseball draft. And he hadn't pitched in almost 3 weeks because they were just so dominant. And yeah, Vanderbilt had been on the verge, and then they, broke through and won a title. And, it's cool because their only national title previous to this was, I think they won women's bowling. So yay, women's bowling. Never could find a t-shirt though. It's unfortunate.
Well, what good are you?
Yeah, what good am I? Yeah, so we started off with a bang there. So today, I think you told me via text earlier today, you're like, maybe you can catch me up on what's going on with the Titans because you're a smart sports fan and you have to pay attention to things that are important, and the Titans aren't. So today it was announced that LP Field is now Nissan Stadium, and why do the Titans change the name of their building every time they get a new sponsor?
Well, I think that's part of the naming rights.
Because they were Adelphia Coliseum, right? And then they were LP Field, and now they are Nissan Stadium. Maybe the field just meant the actual playing field, or I don't know if that includes the Jumbotron. But anyway, one thing the sponsorship doesn't do is it does not decrease the price of a bottle of water at the game or a beer. So, way to go, Titans.
Well, let's hope that it helps increase the quality of the product.
It's going to take a lot more than that. I mean, they're still doing the annual battle over offsets in the contract, so Marietta hasn't officially signed yet.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Which is, every year the offsets get explained to me, and every year I don't remember because I forget things. I think it's just about
basically,
you got it.
it's yes, basically it's whether the team will get credit if he does not play out the terms of his contract, whether the team will get credit for any monies that he will make in his second deal.
Right. So the Titans cut Mariota, which means everybody on the current coaching staff and front office have already been fired, and nobody will
Exactly.
care.
I mean, we could only
Then, if
hope.
another team signs him, then that money could be offset of the Titans' salary cap. And nobody really has salary cap issues anymore. I mean, it's really hard to do that, and teams seem to be smarter with their money. They don't have Albert Hainsworth type deals anymore. I don't know, but just a
Well, I mean, Jay Cutler.
yeah. He is in year 2 of like not so
Sam
good.
Bradford, of course, that was a little different situation, but yeah, I mean, I think the Jay Cutler
Oh,
contract
getting dizzy here.
qualifies.
Moving.
Well, I know Zach's been telling me I might
Help!
be a little
There's
high.
a
I'm so excited. I'm
hurricane.
so excited to be back with my buddy
I
Zach.
know.
And I've only done this show twice from where I'm currently located, and I'm still
Secret headquarters.
adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
Secret headquarters. I'm still adjusting, and I'm still trying to get the lighting down, and I'm so excited I can't sit still.
So, as a bit of a reset, so I'm drinking a unibrow beer called Trois
Oh,
Pistoles, which is 3 pistols in French. How cool is that?
it's very cool.
I discovered it, in a sad moment. But hey, it's a good beer, so that's all fun.
Well, I
Actually,
am drinking
and you're doing the
because
Dragon's Milk because you're
I am. I am the mother of dragons,
okay.
and I'm currently supping on the milk of the dragon, um, which is one of my favorite things to do as I talk football and have fun with my buddy Zach. And I do want to say to Zach and to Jennifer, Jersey Jen, hi Jen, who I missed last week, that I'm very, very, very sorry that I did miss that show. But as Zach knows, and Jen now knows, Sharona, not only was she in Florida covering this big event, but she was sick as a dog. So
Will she talk about this event, or is this still top secret? I don't
no,
remember.
she'll talk
I'm
about
not
the
going to say a
event.
word. Like, I'm almost afraid to say your name because I don't want to spill any beans on anything. So, yeah.
Well, it is certainly not a secret. It was the United Nations 2015 Youth Summit, and it featured young men and women from all over the world who were, I think this is their second, maybe third conference that they've had. Next year it's in Europe, somewhere overseas. I forget.
Well, I hope you invited to that one. And if you need
Yeah,
an
I hope so too.
assistant,
I hope so too. But anyway, it was very well done. It was conducted at IMG in Bradenton, Florida, which is a fantastic facility, and the young people were truly amazing. That is the part that I really want to talk about. How amazing these young men and women were, who came from, many of them came from environments, backgrounds, and situations that I don't know. I don't know that I would have survived. Um, I could tell stories, but I don't want to bore everybody. I will be talking about it in the weeks to come as I get back, settle back in, and start doing my show with Zach and Back Talk with Sharona. We'll be back next week as long as I have internet.
right.
So, but it was fantastic. There were a lot of big names associated with it, a lot of athletes associated with it, but the White House was affiliated, and obviously the NFLPA was a big partner of the event, and so it was it was an interesting, but it was very rewarding. It was great to see that um, that there are some really fantastic young men and women in this world. And one of the things that touched me personally that I'm going to be talking about next week is the impressive array of young women who were there, who were absolutely committed to empowering other women. And I got a chance to speak with some of them and speak to some of them, and it was amazing.
Women in sports, huh? What will they think of next?
Yeah. This actually it's a little bit beyond sports, although it was very sports centric and centered around sports because not all of them, but most of them did play sports. And sports is kind of a unifying thing. And one of the funnier parts of it is that there were so many non-Americans, I guess I should say. You really had to be careful how you talked about football.
Right.
We called it American football because obviously in Europe and other nations across the world, football is soccer.
We should get that World Cup of American football going because I think we could, crush the competition at least for a little while, right?
I think.
Maybe, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL going international. Does that mean they're going to have a franchise overseas one of these days?
There were a couple of guys there who had actually played in NFL Europe and were familiar with some of the countries that some of the kids were from. I say kids. I mean, there were younger, 18. I think you had to be 18, at least 18 to be there. The oldest that I remember was 24. But there were a couple of former NFL Europe players who were participating in the event. It was kind of fun to listen to them talk.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it didn't work out because it seems like there were quite a few players. Like, I think Adam Vinatieri was in there, maybe. I know Jake Delhomme and Kurt Warner were there. And I had the cards. They're exciting, like the Reen Fire or whatever. And they have like some American teams one year because they were. I think they did best when they were just Europe.
Yeah,
but unfortunately,
I kind of miss NFL Europe too. I thought that it was a good thing, and I'm not big on the NFL taking a team that currently exists here in the United States and relocating it overseas. They do seem committed to overseas expansion, though.
we have the Jaguars, right?
Well, the Jaguars are Jaguars. Is that what you said, Zach? Jaguars?
Jaguars. I don't know.
They do seem to be the team that get. The Titans were that team for a while too, when all the sale and stuff talk was going on.
Cool. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I had it. There was a hashtag. Oh, so the current Jacksonville. Someone got me on their mailing list. So I'm getting emails. So
I bet that was Brad.
It's hashtag more Jacks. Of course, I could be referring to that character from Sons of Anarchy, but yeah. So it's like more Jacks, more beer. Although in a random sort of connected piece of news, so the Jaguars, their mascot, Jackson DeVille, apparently is retiring, and I thought. It's weird that they've had, basically the person inside the suit is retiring, and so they're getting rid of their mascot or they're changing their mascot. I'm not sure what's happening, but
that is weird. I liked Jackson DeVille.
I just remember him and like T-Rack kind of looking at cheerleaders because they both, of course, T-Rack, the 6-time Pro Bowl mascot. How many mascots does the NFL have? Anyway. But I was like, they're not going to retire T-Rex. They're just going to change the person in the suit. And who knows? Maybe they've done that before. But, yeah, my favorite, they did a video where the mascots of the Colts and the Jaguars made a bet. And, of course, the Jaguars lost. So he got to get hit with paintballs. So the Jacksonville mascot was actually wearing this, like, weird-looking, like, thong thing over his outfit and covering himself and getting shot with paintballs. Which I was like, okay. There you go. But I'm just saying, when your highlight is your mascot, and things aren't good. I mean, even people in fantasy are traumatized by the Jaguars because everybody's bringing up the name of Toby Gerhart as we remember the love affair people had with him last year.
I was a big Toby Gerhart believer. I will take that L and keep it moving.
I think in general,
Did they release him? He's still a Jag, isn't he?
I said he was going to be like an H back, but it really seems like it's the what's his name, Robinson, Shoelaces, and Yeldon are the guys this year at running back.
That's the Jackie Battle switcheroo, eh?
Jackie Battle. Oh wait, is he not in the roster? Oh, that's right. The Titans drafted a fullback because, yay.
Because they're the Titans. In the 4th round with their 4th round pick. Let's all just take a moment and laugh loudly at that.
Yeah, the fact they took him and then they took David Cobb, who some people think, could be something because so far Bishop Sankey is nothing. David
Johnson?
Cobb.
Is it Cobb or?
Cobb. There's a David Johnson out of Northern Iowa who's with the Cardinals. But yeah.
He's the one who keeps showing up on the draft list, I suppose.
Yes.
I knew the name.
That is true. So have you been watching this World Cup? Are you all excited? Are you USA? Do you have your flag going?
When I have not, unfortunately, watched very much of it. I have not watched much sports at all lately. I have been, in addition, well, for 2 weeks, I was, somewhat consumed by this 2-week event. And I've got a lot of other things going on, and I have not been really writing or paying much attention to sports, but hopefully that's getting ready to change. So to answer your question, no.
It's just wrong.
I paid attention. I mean, I had kept up with it pretty well until I got to Florida, and then things were so crazy down there that I just did not continue.
We didn't miss a lot of baseball. You didn't miss the end of the hockey and basketball seasons.
I caught highlights, and I was actually, where was I? I saw Lightning fans were extremely, extremely disappointed. I saw that game.
Yeah, it's kind of like because they get there once every decade. I don't blame you for being upset if your team doesn't win. It's like if the Titans got the Super Bowl and lost again on the last second play again, that would be, it'd be frustrating. But I'd be a happier, frustrated person, right?
Would you, Zach? Would you really?
I don't know. I don't remember how to feel anymore when it comes to football. So to actually care again would be odd.
Well, training camps are right around the corner.
Because often when I talk to people, it's like I become the representative of the Titans, and it's like, well, I'm just kind of like an observer. I'm wearing the UN helmet. I feel like I'm a neutral person almost because I'm like,
you're Switzerland.
Rude for them, really? I don't want to.
Exacto, sweet.
I know it's gonna happen. It's like I've already seen Rocky IV. I know we're gonna win. No, except we're the Russian. Wait, no. He actually had a physical advantage. That's not the Titans.
All right.
But random news.
Random.
That makes it's basically tonight's what are the crap comes in my head because I didn't really do much in the way of notes. The fact that the Panthers signed Cam Newton to this extension, which was not too controversial, unlike the Tannehill one, but it looks like Michael Oher is going to be their left tackle. He wasn't very good as the right tackle, although I think you defended him because you like defending people because, lawyer, right?
I did not think that Michael Oher was as bad as neither he nor Cam Wembley were as bad as what Titans fans wanted to make them out to be. And while I do think that Michael Oher is a better left tackle, not saying that he's a great left tackle, but I think that he is a better left tackle than he is a right tackle.
I mean, that's something that just jumps at you, the history of Cam Newton with the Panthers. I know you're a closet Panthers fan, or at least Panthers fans.
I should have worn my Panther. Hold on. Let me grab my Panther shirt.
God. You're in one of their leagues, right? Well, it's just to say that since they've drafted Cam Newton, they've given him practically nothing at receiver. Like they had Steve Smith, who is old, and then an offensive line. Like their entire offensive line retired like 3 years ago, and they've never drafted anybody worth a crap. So it's sort of like Ben Roethlisberger of the Steelers. Like they didn't have any offensive line, and he just did whatever. So maybe these guys like it when they get beat up. I'm just hoping the Titans don't do that with Mariota because he's not that big. He's not Cam Newton big. He's not. We'll see. Right? Is that how it goes?
Right.
You're just going to agree with me. This is boring. Come on.
Well, I said right. I said right. You didn't pick up on it because you were making fun of my right a little while ago.
I got rights. Just say bless your heart. We can keep going.
Bless your pea picking little heart, Zach.
Oh man. Well, we do have an overload of pimento cheese in this house, so you'd be happy about that.
Ugh.
Wait, you don't like pimento cheese? I'm going to kick you out. Send you north.
The day you learn to appreciate a grit is the day we'll talk food.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll be back in Nashville one of these days, and you can, show me the good stuff, and I can look at it like Bernard Pollard and give it that,
Has anybody signed Bernard Pollard yet?
He's kind of old for a player, and didn't he tear his ACL last year? He had a pretty bad injury.
Achilles.
Oh gosh, even worse. It's like most Achilles.
Yes, it is.
It's like an ACL. I think I heard it was like 90% of players get back, but with an Achilles, it's more rare, and it seems like it's tougher to come back.
I know that he asked to be released and everything, but as soon as we found out that he had tore his Achilles, I said he'd never play another down for the Titans, and the Brat Pack jumped all over me for it. But you know what?
Who's the Brat Pack? Like every Titans fan?
Mostly.
You're haters?
I'm the hater.
Cool. Wait a second. I thought that was me. No, that was my job.
Sharona the hater.
No, that was the whole thing when we started the show. I was always hating on the Titans, and you were always like loving on them. Like, Cam Wembley's nice. I saw him pet a puppy once, so he's not a bad player. Come on.
I have never seen Cam Wembley pet a puppy, nor do I think that he pets puppies. I don't think Cam's a dog person.
Okay.
That would be my impression. I saw him snarl a lot.
I mean, you could make a good point. It's like either a player is a bust, or they're like great. That's just how it is now. So Wembley would have had to have had, double-digit sacks to be considered good, and all he was just a below-average NFL player, which is not worth the money paid. And I think Michael Oher was not very good at right tackle. Is that your boo? Which one?
That was my boo saying, "Good way to defend our homies." Kidding.
Yeah.
Totally kidding.
Okay, so this is a piece of news. I don't know. You may have heard it. You may have not. I don't know how you've been over the Twitters, but so last night there was a rumor.
I haven't been on social media at all.
A rumor that the Broncos
is it a groomer though?
Tried to trade Peyton Manning to the Texans.
Yes.
And the more you hear from it, the more you're like, yeah, they might have tried. I don't know how serious they were. It's like, do you consider it like, in fantasy league, you might make an offer to someone and they totally reject it or they ignore it. Does that count as much as if you actually like negotiated back and forth with somebody for like a day? And
so do we know the time period here?
We
don't. Just before Peyton? I mean, it makes complete sense if it was before. If it was before Peyton, agreed to take his pay cut.
Yeah,
redo his deal.
It was kind of
Then
early
it
in the
makes
offseason.
sense.
I mean, the additional rumor that came in today is that they actually asked him to take a $10 million pay cut, and he actually took a $4 million pay cut. So I can't imagine they are that excited about Brock Osweiler, but I think they know that Peyton's close to done.
Well, listen, here's the thing. I don't know that much about this rumor. I have not been on social media because I've been extremely busy and haven't had a lot of disposable time.
He has a life.
But I'm aware of the rumor. Someone communicated the rumor to me, and Peyton considered the Denver Broncos to be his team. I think everybody. I mean, every team Peyton's been on, he can. That's. I'm not knocking Peyton Manning. I think that is somewhat a characteristic or a trait of all good players. I mean, look at LeBron James and all the rumors you hear about David Blatt. But anyway, I digress. The Denver Broncos chose to move on from John Fox, and they brought in Gary Kubiak. It's a completely different deal, and it would not shock me to know that there is a power struggle going on.
Yeah, there was that whole rumor. It was like Adam Gase or whoever the offensive coordinator is, and it's like he's not really offensive coordinator. Peyton is, and now
It was
Gary
Peyton.
Kubiak's like
Peyton's gotten a lot of people
we're running
new
Peyton.
jobs.
Like, why wouldn't you let Peyton call his plays and stuff? He's played pretty well. I mean, consider that the guy didn't he have 4 neck surgeries? He's definitely exceeded expectations from coming back from that.
He's Frankenstein.
And he's showing his age. I mean, like, Brett Favre had that one renaissance year where the Vikings should have gotten to the Super Bowl, but he screwed it up. And then the next year, he went back to being an old quarterback.
Wasn't that the year that a certain team and a certain someone tried to take him out of the game, for which there were some repercussions?
The Saints?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the coach didn't know anything about it, but he got suspended for a year. But Bill Belichick didn't know anything about Deflategate, and he got suspended for a year. So
Greg Williams most certainly did know about it.
No, I mean Sean, the head coach, said he didn't know about
whatever.
it. He got
Sean
suspended
Payton
for a
knew.
year. Well, probably. That was the whole thing with Deflategate, which is this crazy farce, and maybe they'll make a PBS show out of it or something. But the fact that they're like, "Oh, Bill Belichick didn't know," I'm like, right.
I don't think that Bill Belichick cared that much about Tom Brady's balls.
Yes, good one. But the fact is, yeah, it's such a small detail that he's like, Tom Brady, you deal with your balls. We'll just move on.
But a defense-wide system that compensated players for extracurricular on-the-field activities, maybe not, depending on which players you talk to.
Yeah.
I think that's a little different situation. It is to me. Maybe it's not to everybody else, but it is to me.
They hit the shit out of Favre in that game. I think either he was out for a play.
I remember the hit.
It was one of those hits. I think Peyton got hit once where it looked like he tore his ACL, and somehow he came back a play later, and you're like, okay, maybe he's a little superhuman. And yeah, Brett Favre it looked like he was dead.
He played,
for 5
2
seconds.
plays?
And he came back in because they had Tarvaris Jackson or whatever crappy backup they had. That was like, in unrelated news, I had Sidney Rice on my dynasty team. That was the one year he was good because he had a good quarterback, and he was pretty mediocre the rest of his career. He was very Cameron Wembley-esque most of his career. I'm going to get you a jersey. Yeah? What you going to do about it? You going to meet me up next time?
Drink my beer.
So where's that pup?
I think she's over here in her crate.
Like, I'm out of this.
She missed me while I was in Florida, obviously.
I bet.
And then I was not home last night either. And when I got home today, she was very excited to see me today. It's, she knows we're talking about her. Here she comes.
Hmm.
Yes, we're talking about you. Come here. You want to get on camera? Come here. You are a little diva. Come here.
Yeah. Where's that come
Come
from?
on. I have no idea. She does not take it after me. Come here. Come on.
Skips a generation. Hmm.
She's like, screw this. I'm going back to bed. She
Hmm.
went back in her crate. She does not want
Exactly.
to be on. So she must be sick. I need to take her temperature. She does not want to be on camera.
Well, it's sad that we can't have our species battles anymore.
I
There's
know. I was very, very, very sad for you and Allison. I was.
that was a bad weekend.
I I just wanted to hug you both. I know that had to be hard. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. It's been very odd and very quiet, and there's a
I
lot of
did
stuff
almost drop in on you too, by the way.
Hmm.
Zach knows
I heard
this. I was
that. Yeah,
like,
you were driving like you were tired
holy
out of your
crap.
mind, and I was like, I really hope she's not actually texting me because it seems like don't text and drive, America, youth.
Sure, blame it on me. It's always Sharona's fault.
Oh, I was
It's
just saying,
blame
be safe
Sharona.
on the road. That's all. But you
Yeah.
stopped short of town. You didn't make it to the
I
Nashville,
I will really
Atlanta.
you could if we ever have my sister on, you can ask her. I was like, I really want to make it past Atlanta, at least to Atlanta or past Atlanta if I can. And if I'd made it to Atlanta, I was going to be Zach. But I did not make it to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a long drive. I mean, how far in Florida were you?
Tampa.
Yeah, I drove there once, and I remember it's like once you get to Florida, it's another 8 hours or something. I don't know, it might not be that long, but that was the one time I went, and it was a long way. Florida's a long state.
I will say this. The trip down was awful. Let's just leave it at that. The trip back was not so bad. Of course, stopping, I don't even remember the name of the little small Georgia town that I stopped in and spent the night. Decent hotel, real cheap. Thank God for my Find a Cheap Hotel app. Um, exactly what I needed. The bed was awesome. I do think that there was some practicing of the world's oldest profession going on, but they didn't bother me, and so it was all good. And then had breakfast and coffee for me free the next morning, and it was perfect.
Coffee's good.
Coffee's very good.
I remember driving back. It was my last year in college, and my roommate and I were at the beach with the family, and he was like, "Let's drive back to Columbia, Missouri in the middle of the night in the old car that his parents gave him to drive to school." And it broke down in Decatur, Alabama at like 3 in the morning. And we stayed at a hotel where you had to put cash in a slot to pay, slept for 2 hours, and then you had to get like a rental car. And it was just like we're in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. And it took a little of movement for us to get out of there and back to college. But it was just like, so driving home in the middle of the night, maybe not the best idea. Just there you go. So are you prepared as a honest Southern lady? What do you think of all this flag stuff?
I have no idea what you're
Do
talking
you have hot
about.
takes about the Confederate flag and all that?
What about the Confederate flag and what is going on? When you said, let's talk about the flag, I mean,
Oh, about how
I
it's
have,
being taken down in South Carolina and how major stores are not selling Confederate kind of memorabilia anymore and that kind of stuff that's happening.
oh, is this what Clay Travis is upset about?
Oh, I don't know, he's upset about anything. He's got a lot of people clicking on his site. Yeah, it's we had a tragic event happen last week, and the
Yes.
guy who did it seemed to be a big fan of the flag, and it's odd that what happens out of this, but now it seems that South Carolina is taking down the Confederate flag, And it looks like Alabama's been taken, and like a lot of like southern states are taking the flag down. There's talk about that crazy display as you drive into Nashville. A guy on his private land posted has like
Oh, the Nathan
every
Bedford
flag of
Forest.
like the South, including a bunch of Confederate flags and a general. And now the state's talking about putting up trees in front of it so people can't see it as they drive by. So I don't know. There's a bit
Well,
of
I would say, I would, to all of this, I would simply say, what took us so long? Um, why do we talk? Look, I understand the First Amendment. I understand freedom of speech. I understand that you have to protect and tolerate speech that you don't necessarily agree with, and all of that. But I do think that there are lines that you should draw against things that incite hate and violence. And I think that the Confederate flag is one of those things that has tended to do that.
I mean, as far as my understanding is, the Confederate flag basically went down after they lost the war, and it came up right when the civil rights movement started, and it was like a reaction to that. And it
It
seems
was
pretty
very much a reaction to
straightforward that
that.
that is what it's kind of about. And
And it's very much been a tool that has been used to champion racial intolerance. You know, I mean, this country is simmering with racial tensions that have been allowed to fester for a long time because we have not been willing to ask the tough questions, to talk about the tough topics, to say, you know what, maybe the Confederate flag and these things, we won't ban them outright, but maybe we shouldn't glorify it so much.
yeah, the Confederate flag, like bikinis and stuff like that, that might be pushing it. And I'm pretty sure. I think I heard that in Germany they actually banned the Nazi flag, but people still have them. But I don't think people wear Nazi like bikinis and things like that because it's like there's this supposed heritage, but it seems like the heritage it's defending is not a good heritage. It's not like, hey, we have this great culture down here. It's like it's defending this inequality. But there's this big push for like American exceptionalism, and America is just such an unusual country in that we had, like, other countries in the world had slavery, but most countries didn't do it based on race alone. It was usually like based on class.
Well,
But in
we
the
didn't
U.S., it
necessarily
was
either, but we were just outright enslaving uh, people of color. That indentured servitude was still very much a thing, and it was not quite as bad, but almost. And so, um, I mean, we definitely had. If you don't have money, it's always been true. If you don't have money, not just in this country, but anywhere, then you're in trouble.
you're at a disadvantage if you don't have money, and if you're born with a certain skin color, you're at a disadvantage most of the time. And I think that's one of the things over the years, like you net realize is, oh, I have all this privilege here. I'm white male American. I'm like the ultimate privileged,
Well, part of it
of them
too
all.
is because people of color have tended to be not just disenfranchised, but economically disadvantaged, and so, and it's hard to hide that when you have your color, the color of your skin, kind of helps you, um, and that's why you see a lot of cops and um, people who have the mindset and thought process to take advantage of that where they run afoul of, pulling over a Chris Rock and, I mean, they still do it, but, and then you have Chris Rock speaking out and saying, yeah, man, all I was doing was driving while black.
Yeah, a lot of people have stories like that to tell. They're just driving around, they get pulled over. And you're like afraid something's going to happen. And that's not a fear I think we usually have, although I think anytime if I get pulled over or something, I kind of freak out. But that's just because I'm weird. Yeah, I don't have that.
I hate it, I mean, I don't think anybody likes it.
Well, now it's
But
like,
we don't have the fear that a lot of people in this country have,
you know, the fear that physical harm could come to you. You just have the fear of like, oh, they're going to probably give me a very overpriced ticket. And that's a totally different situation. But I don't know.
Which is just another mechanism of taxation and a way to take advantage of poor people.
Fight the man. Yeah, I think I just mentioned the whole Clay Travis thing because I know you and him are best pals, and I don't know. It feels like his site is always kind of appealing to a bit of a lowest common denominator. So for him to create this straw man of generic people on Twitter who are complaining about the Confederate flag, like if you can take on and create a straw man of people who are dumb on the internet, can defeat them in an argument pretty easily. And of course, there's a lot more to it. He was just taking it to the extreme of like, oh, they're going to ban books about the Civil War. It's like, why would they do that?
Well, they should ban inaccurate books about the Civil War, but I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with having, I shouldn't say ban. I mean, I don't think that they should ban them, but we should definitely not have them in our classrooms.
I mean, it's such a big part of history, and there are monuments.
No, I mean, we should have accurate books about the Civil War.
There's a civil rights attorney, Brian Stevenson, I think is his name, and he does a lot of work with underprivileged people in prison. And he did a speech that I saw, and he was saying that in Germany they had like historical things that showed where people were killed during World War II and all the bad things that happened during World War II. And he said that there should be a monument everywhere in America, not just in the South, where somebody had been lynched and these kind of things, just as kind of reminders of what happened. Like these bad things happen, and we should try to make sure that they don't happen again. And it's really sad because you can't undo it, and then you're like, well, what can we do to prevent this kind of stuff? And it's a lot to it. And we've just been down. We're down at the beginning. We're down now. We gotta get. I'm
not down. We've just been having a good conversation.
You're just like bringing up this sad stuff. Yeah. Not your fault. It's me. It's all me. Well, if you want,
it's always your fault, Zach.
That's true. I went to an event last Sunday. It was called a bottle exchange. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these. A friend of mine, this is not, friend of mine invited me over, and it was like, bring your like rare casked beers. People are going to come to the house. They're going to bring like their hardest to find beers. So I come to this guy's house with whatever I have, which isn't much because if I'm a beer collector, I collect it for like 2 weeks before I drink it. So I'm not keeping stuff. If it's rare and interesting, I want to drink it. And I'm just not that involved. But we had some of the like best known beers in the country that I had like heard rumors of. And it was just like a couple of hours of just drinking a bunch of beers that on Beer Advocate were ranked 100 and people just were raving about. And the lengths these people go to get these beers is like they trade beers, where you mail beers to somebody and they mail them back. And by the way, it's really expensive to mail beer. It's like $60 for a 12-pack. It's crazy. But they didn't mess around, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm afraid it's going to make me extra snotty about my beer, and I have to get the better stuff.
That's not
good. I'll
still
drink my Abita with strawberry, though, because I like it. I don't care what you say. We can't bring a good man down.
Beer. Girly, girly.
Nothing wrong with that. Can't call it womanly. No, you can call it girly.
Girly, girly.
Uh-huh. Well, how did you discover like Dragon's Milk? Did you just see the name and go, "That's cool, I have to have it"?
It's completely your fault.
Oh,
Because
uh-oh.
I know that you drink beer, and one of life's greatest pleasures for me is to drink beer and talk football with my buddy Zach. I started just, I would go to the wine store because I drink wine, and they had a lot of selections of beer. And I would be, well, I should get something special to drink with Zach. And so I would be checking it out, and I've tried the barista brew, which was good, and Dragon's Milk was just right there, and I saw it, and I was like, And then the next time I went back in and I saw it again, I'm like, And then the next time I went in, I saw it, and I was like, okay. And the rest is history. It's really a good beer. The other coffee stout that I had been drinking with you, I'm in search, because I do not live in Nashville anymore. I'm in search of a local place to pick it up, and so I'd gone into the wine store that I'm bonding with. I'm finding my way around, finding a new wine store, and so I've been going to this one place, and so I was in there today, and because I wanted to get some wine and get a beer to drink with my buddy Zach, but they didn't have. I was used to the big bottles, the big with the little
The
foil
bomber,
thing that you
basically.
have. It's very fancy, and it's a great bottle and
It's a
stuff, and
cork, I
it's.
think. That's the kind of like
Yes,
cork.
it does. Yes, it's very cool. And I didn't see it, so I got into a conversation with one of the guys who worked there, and he drinks this Memphis beer that I have been drinking, excuse me, which is called You Gotta Get Up to Get Down. He was like, "No, we don't carry it. I'm so sorry." And so, won't tell on you too bad, dude. But he was, telling me some places I could go to find it. It's not sold as I had been buying it in a 6-pack. It's not sold like that locally that I've found yet. But he told me a couple of places that have it on tap.
So you have to get it on tap, huh?
There's also there's also a local gaming joint. Remember the gaming joint that we went to in Nashville?
With all the video games.
There's one here.
So where
So
are
excited.
did you tell me where you were? You probably did and I forgot.
I did tell you. You forgot because you don't pay any attention to me.
I'm just terrible.
No, you're not terrible. You're just,
Forgetful.
you're used to me being in Nashville. I've been in
It's
Nashville since
easier
you've
that
known
way,
me. I've
you know?
been in Nashville. I was in Nashville for a long time.
So sad. The town is just
It's
that much
been,
less cool.
yeah, it's just true.
Look forward to coming to
Um,
Nashville and not meeting up with you for some reason because my phone died.
you're such an asshole.
Tell me the truth. Finally, it comes out.
I mean, really, my
Hmm.
phone died. This happened. You used that excuse on me twice.
Well, just talk about the one time it died. Yeah, I don't know if it
You
dies
used
other
that
times.
excuse on me twice.
Hmm.
Once the year before, and once at the only Titans game that I went to last year.
Technology, I tell you. So the good chance you're not get to any games this year. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not covering the Titans right now, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know
No,
if I'll make any.
just the general quality of life for you is going to improve a lot if you're not covering the Titans.
It already has.
I mean, it's like, oh, I don't have to care. Okay, that's cool. It's just
So,
let
I mean,
Zach
I don't
play.
know. Never say never, but at the moment, I don't have any plans.
Any big plans? So if I can set up one of these famed MFL 10s, I get you in, at least you and Jen. Because I think Jen,
Yes.
I think Jen. I make the joke about a few people, but I'll make it about her. Jen has to be in every one. It seems. There was one yesterday that
Well, I'm counting on Jen to teach me the ropes.
she invited me to join one yesterday, and I was going to a book event that Allison and I were kind of catering. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get online for like 4 hours. It was something else.
Oh, is that you have to do that?
She was doing a favor for a friend because she doesn't really do a lot of book stuff now because she's got that full-time job.
No. You have to be online for 4 hours for an MFL.
No, it was just I had to go online to actually sign up for it, and
The book thing sounds awesome and fun.
I don't have my login credentials. Like every time I go into an MFL site, I'm on my phone. I have to have it send my password because I can't get on. So I'm like, I can't do a new league because we do all these mock
Those
drafts.
are annoying.
And every time I do a mock draft and I'm not at home, I have to like send myself the email to remind me the password and all that crap. Yeah, we went to a book event and we thought there were going to be like 100 people there, so we got that much wine and beer. Yeah.
Good beer.
So now I have like a ton of wine and I need to make an exchange, but I'm afraid I can't have too much of this stuff in my house. It's pretty bad.
Why is that?
Because it'll go bad places. I don't know. We might be having a party to celebrate Allison finishing up school, so I'm like, oh, you might need to get some booze for that. We should. It's been a long time coming, I tell you. The finish line is close.
Well, congratulations, Allison. Let's drink to Allison.
Oh yeah, that's a good excuse. Yeah, woo. Nothing more exciting than formatting your thesis, which is what she's doing right now. Woo! It's glamorous.
So no plans to do a dissertation?
It's just a longer version. I think for a little bit. She's like, let me go to school, and then it's like, oh man, you have to do all this work, and oh yeah, you have to finish your thesis, and you have to spend money, and there's a lot of stuff to it. So yeah, we'll always be a Panthers family, since that's Georgia State. But man, their football team's so bad. I don't know. It's gonna be a while.
Georgia State. Okay.
They went 1-11 last year, and they beat like a Division II team on a last-second field goal. And they're in Atlanta, they're in the South, but they stink. They're just bad. They're in the Sun Belt, but they're just bad.
Well, that's not good.
Some of the Southern Conference teams moved up, and they were actually good, but yeah, Georgia State not so good. But yeah, fall is coming. The Tennessee hype continues to grow, which is nice. I know you're.
I hear they got nice rings.
Oh yeah, that's what you get for winning the what bowl? Not the Belka Bowl. What was the bowl again? The Tax Slayer.
The Tax Slayer.
Used to be the Gator. I liked bowls named after like food items or Gator Bowl or Sun Bowl, but yeah, these weird, There are two things my old self will never get over: is goofy bowl names and every new jersey coming out looking just absolutely horrible and everybody loving it. The Atlanta Hawks came out with the new jerseys, and it was like they stole the idea from the Seahawks to have like the neon accent color, and it's like highlighter yellow, and it's on all their jerseys, and it's not good, but that must mean people are going to like them, right?
Must be.
You got to change. I mean, that's like the look of the future. Like the Premier League English soccer teams, they change one of their jerseys every year because they want to get new jerseys, and that's what's going to happen in the NFL. The Titans could just get those Oilers throwbacks full time. I would be so happy.
Well, the Titans changed their jerseys. They went to the white jersey.
Subtle, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wee.
Which sucks, but okay. Whatever.
I don't like the dark blue just because that's associated with them going to the Super Bowl. But they like the light blue now. That's their thing. But that's okay.
Oh, shit. Shoot. Hi.
Wait. You were trying not to curse? You? Interesting.
I'm having trouble here.
To the 1 hour point. So, can you tell everybody what's happening in the Sharona's world? Can we get to your level just for a few seconds?
Sharona's world is very intense and crazy and insane right now. But you'll at least have my presence back, hopefully, on Friday with Game Over with Fast Eye and Sharona. And then Back Talk with Sharona will be back next week.
Yakety yak, don't talk back. If I can talk Scott Fish into letting me do something, I'm going to attempt something insane and try to do interviews with everybody in the Scott Fish Bowl, which has 360 participants and is probably the craziest fantasy football league ever. And you're in it.
I'm in that.
I'm in it. I think you're in a division with Jen. I'm in a division with like 6 people that I've interviewed, so it's unlikely I'll survive. Last year, I think I made the playoffs, but I didn't do very well. But I like the league just because any fantasy league that has flexibility. You can start 2 quarterbacks, but you have roster flexibility. And no defenses and no kickers. Oh, whew, it's my favorite.
Well, that's great.
And the draft's like July 6th, so there's so much like you're like, please don't let
Who's
my
going
guy
to be the
tear his ACL.
Who's going to be the big defense? Last year it was the Bills. Year before that it was Tampa Bay.
Defense. Seahawks?
Yeah.
Titans? Actually, I'll be telling people this until the beginning of the season. Just take the Bucks. The Bucks are playing the Titans week 1. Take them. They're at home. Boom. Free money. I say play for in fantasy football. Take a daily fantasy approach. Go for week 1. What's a good matchup in week 1? You're good. So that's all I have to say. I did post an article about my crazy beer fest that I had, and I'll continue to post crazy stuff. And hopefully I'm either going to do kind of generic interviews with everybody in the league or try to do some kind of crazy, massive hangout at some point, which I'm already getting an ulcer thinking about it, but it could be fun. So anyway, thank you, Sharona, for coming on. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about how you're going to dominate. Get the ladies of the fishbowl.
Well, in addition to all the other stuff, hopefully pretty soon you're going to be able to read my book that I'm writing.
Ooh, what's that? What's that?
It's a book.
We talking fiction? We talking non-fiction? What do we got?
Well,
it's usually one or the other, but you know.
I haven't quite decided.
If
it's fiction, it shall be loosely based on events that I might be intimately familiar with.
She might be. Names have been changed to protect the guilty. Like my name. I don't want to know what my name will be in this book. Anyway, cool. Sounds good.
Your name will be Mike.
Mike, okay. Like when the quarterback points at the guy, the Mike, he's the Mike, he's the Mike. Okay. Well, thank you, Sharona, for being on the show. Sports by Sharona. Just that's where you go. And you go Zach_Law on Twitter. It's where you find me. So good night, everybody. Thanks for joining. Going for 2 again. Maybe we'll get Mike next week. We've got to get Jen back because, you know, she really wanted to talk to you.
We've got to get Jen back.
So maybe in a couple weeks, around the time we do Fishbowl would be fun. Anytime before the season. Anyway, thanks, everybody, for coming on. And good night. And kiss my grids.